Welcome everyone to Adeel Pirzada podcast. Today we got another exciting podcast. I got my co-host Kevin here. Kevin, how are you doing?
Hey, welcome. What's going on? I'm happy to be here.
Great. So today we're gonna discuss something we've been discussing about construction, and actually we covered it early on, but we're gonna dig a little bit deeper into residential construction and multifamily building 2 or more units. So we're not fully into multifamily. We're going to talk about a couple units, so a duplex, triplex, and how we can kind of look for those kind of places, those kind of land, and how you can kind of go through the process and get construction done and go through the process with the city.
Yeah, exciting news. We're going to be covering a big thing, especially for building a duplex. I know we have tons of people who follow us on Instagram. Big shout out to Instagram. And many of them build infills, build houses, build duplexes, and are developers. So tune in. You're going to be learning from a well-experienced construction expert who's built huge subdivisions, and Adeel will be covering that soon. Now, before we go, I just wanted to introduce all of us here to the show. My name is Kevin with Pircon Group. I'm a business development manager. I work with Adeel and our team does commercial general contracting. We do some residential work as well. And we are experts in design build, drawings, commercial permitting, and project management. And if you need any information, you can go ahead and reach out to us, pircongroup.com, and I'll put the information down below. Let's do this.
Yeah. Typically, looking at residential construction, we're usually involved with renovation. So that's what I would really consider residential construction. When you come into actually building a house, it's a residential construction, but when you're doing multiple, it is actually part of commercial construction. So when you're building a multifamily, even for the banks, for the lenders, when you're building 4 or more unit, it's considered residential. Some areas maybe 5. It's considered commercial. So anything less than that, so 1, 2, 3, or 4 units are residential. Anything more than that, even the lenders would recognize it as a commercial. So talking about duplexes, we're gonna kind of stick with the residential side of it. Just building, the single family, the duplex or triplex or the fourplex. What we're going to discuss, the permitting and the construction process, is pretty much the same. So if we're kind of applying for duplex, it's the same thing for a single family in a way, or a bit easier. And if we're talking about the duplex and the triplex or the fourplex, are pretty much the same, a little bit harder. That's what it would combine. Anything more than that, and then the placement of it, how it gets built, and the building permit kind of criteria changes. And then obviously, if you are getting it as an investor or you're a real estate agent, and that's what you do, you build homes, or you're a small builder or you're a small developer, your process for building multifamily, it kind of changes in a way with the building codes and some of the other things. Yeah. So so it looks like, Kevin, you got some question. If you want to go ahead and let me know what you got there.
All right. So, looks like Adeel gave us a definition of duplexes, basically a semi detached home. And
a duplex is actually like the right legal language. I would call it. It's a semi detached. So that's what it's called. It's a semi detached home. But duplex is just the I would call it the old slang, just to say side by side.
For sure. Now in wrestling, they have something called the suplex. It's where you like pick someone up and you throw them over your head. It's crazy.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I'd try to suplex Adeel, but he's too heavy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to share some big news there before we go on. I realized to kind of skip that step, but I just want to share some big big news for Pircon Group. We just finished a great project. We're finishing up. We're in the final steps of Ooh La La Nail Salon and Spa out in Boness. Such a beautiful place. Great white finish. Great white tile. The wall looks amazing. And I just highly suggest you guys all check that place out. Super proud of the work that we've done there. And one of our project managers has been leading the project, and his name is Chris. So great work there. And I don't know, any Adeel, you want to say anything about that? Or
Yeah, it's actually one of a kind project. It's very unique what we have done there. That project actually, that place is considered live work units. So they were designed. All the units in that building were designed as a new zoning. Actually, the city of Calgary has just recently got it's called work live units. So you can actually stay in the unit and you can also work. So if you have some service business or you got some clients where you intake some clients, you can actually, the bedrooms were in the back and then you can use the front area as your retail, as your service area. So what happened, that project was being built during COVID. So that was really a thing during the COVID work live. So those units were designed like that. And now all the units on the main floor, they ended up, being used as a full retail. So it just, all the units in that building are kind of being used as. So this unit was one of them that we actually had to convert it first. So it was a work live unit. We have to convert it to the retail only unit. And after that, obviously, we had to build a business. There's a lot of things that were to look at because it's actually quite interesting and exciting, like the amount of work for such a small place that we have done. How you have to upgrade it because it was built as a work live unit. So a lot of things that were done into it, and that's where like the building permit and the complexity of it gets into. A lot of stuff that's kind of done in there is done as per the residential code. Now, because we got them as a retail unit, so the city or the inspection department wants to see a lot of things there as a commercial code.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of things to kind of deal with when we're dealing with the construction in that space. But it turned out very beautiful. It looks amazing. This is a turnkey operation pretty much we have done for this project from 0 to 100. So it was nothing in there. We had to do some demolition, bring it back to a kind of retail shape. We have to apply for certain permits. We also did the renderings on the project. And then we got the DP permit, we got the BP permit on that, and then obviously we did the construction, which is finally finished. And actually, tell you the truth, I was just looking at the renderings the other day. The actual place that's completed, it looks way better than the graphics. Like the graphics looks amazing, what we put in there and what was the concept behind.
I seen that too.
Yeah, but
beautiful.
The rendering looks. It's always the rendering that looks perfect and amazing. But the rendering, I think the actual store finishing, the extra store completion, it far exceeds the quality of the rendering. So it looks amazing. And it's a great business. Actually, if you get a chance to go by, they are just opening up. They're having a soft opening. And it's a family business, husband and wife. They're a really nice couple, and they got a lot of new stuff. If you're into Medicure, pedicure, they got a lot of new, unique stuff in there that I've noticed. And it's a nicely built store, and they got 6 spa chairs, state of the art. So you're gonna have a really good time. They made this place into a very comfortable place, and they spent a lot of time.
Great customer experience
yeah,
as well.
Yeah,
free drinks and stuff.
Yeah,
Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but I know it just looks amazing. So do visit the place if you get a chance. And I think Kevin has shared a lot of pictures and other stuff on Pircon platform, so you'll see what it is and what we're talking about. And we actually have another project that is actually just closing off. So it's just, I think tomorrow will be the kind of last day. We're working hard on that. Chris been on that project, I think, for nonstop. So it's putting real hard work into it, and it's almost close to completion. And we're going to have the opening on that project pretty soon too. So the owner is going to move in. They're going to start doing their stuff, what they have to do, like fill up their shelving and then, turn up their equipment and test those out. So that is going to be open for public pretty soon as well. And that is going to be a pizza store. It's also a very unique concept for pizza. So if somebody's into that, and especially if you're in the area, you should check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Check it out. I've worked on both projects. Such really cool places there, and I'm so impressed by the quality of our work. And you guys need to, if you're looking to build, you need to call us and help us or let us build your next nail salon and pizza place and restaurant. So give us a call, and we could help you out as well. But as we go back to the duplexes now, we're going from commercial back to residential. And, some of you might be asking, hey, does Pircon do residential as well? And I could let you answer that, Adeel, if you want. Like, we do some residential, but I could let Adeel say that as well.
We do residential work. We have done quite a lot of residential work. I really think, okay, here's the thing, right? So if you're doing a residential work, we don't advertise it too much on residential because our price is really paid in commercial. What I really mean, if you want to hire us as expert, you're going to get bang for your buck when we're doing the commercial work, because that's where it gets really complicated and some of the things become real big obstacles. Usually a residential construction, if you're just looking to renovate your washroom or maybe change your carpet, Pircon is not going to be the best contributor in your success there. We can take care of it easily. It's very easy for us, but it's like too easy. Maybe you can take care of it yourself, or maybe you can hire directly a trade member and get that done. If you need some designing or some special stuff, we can get involved with that and we can help you with that. So that we do that residential. If you need a full house reno, we have done tons of those. That's where you get bang for your buck. Like bringing Pircon team to your full home renovation, you're going to get the best expertise from our site, time management, better scheduling, better product awareness, and the quality of the work. That's what you really want to pay us for, and that's where it's really worth it. So it's not that we can come and paint your house. We can, but I think it's a lot better it's a lot cheaper financially, more feasible if you were to kind of handle it your own. And if it's just one trade member. And I would say not just Pircon, any company, if you're looking to do one or two things, maybe you can get a trade member yourself. But when it becomes a project, especially a full house reno, maybe a house addition, maybe there's something fancy with your basement.
More than one trade, for sure.
Yeah,
Call
more
it
than
general.
Yeah, exactly. Then that's where you need the general contractor. That's where you need those expertise, and that's where we're the best at. A commercial project, same thing. Like there's so much that gets involved. Like you take an example of a simple project of this nail salon that we were discussing. It's from the front cover. It's a very simple project. It's like there's nothing into it. But they got a lot happening in a small place. They got 6 spa chairs. They got manicure tables. They got massage room. They have to meet the codes with the city. And then, like I said, it was a residential built in a way. The materials that were used and the city approval system that it went through was on a residential building code. And now it has to be converted to commercial. And then those electrical components and the plumbing components have to be commercial as graded as well. So those those things, that's where Pircon comes in, and then we can bring our expertise and really help out with the project to save you time and money. So yeah, residential projects all day and night, we do that. Bigger the project, better I think you're gonna get out of it from us. So do call us if there is a residential stuff you're looking at. You need a full home reno, or maybe buying a house to resale it, or you're buying a house to move into, and then you need renovation. Pircon team is going to be the best helping you with that, with your process. And especially, this residential stuff we love doing is actually building ground up. So if you got a house that you need to build in a newer area, inner city, and it's a custom house, that's where Pircon can really help you out with the process. We do the building permits, development permits in-house. Like a lot of services that we provide are in-house. We can look at the project, see if it's feasible for you. So there's a lot of help that we can provide on the residential and on that end of the things.
So key.
Yeah.
This is cool. I love homes. I love homes because people live in them, and like the people can create a whole family and grow inside a home. So that's what I really love about homes. And moving towards back to these questions here. So we're like, okay, we're on question B now. So what does it take to build a duplex? I know that could be a huge process. We've been talking about leveling the land and building the subdivision. Now, Adeel, how do you build, and what is the process for a duplex?
So for a duplex, there are certain things that you need to look at. So that your lot is usually allowed in older city subdivisions, so the inner city areas or the city core. It's not restricted to that, but usually you'll find it in older areas, and that's where it's needed, because the newer areas are built recently anyway, so the home doesn't need a replacement, like the lot doesn't need a replacement. But when it's older area, the house is 30-40 years old, it should be replaced anyway. So that's where the city allows you, and then plus the lots are bigger, so city would allow you to come in, and then you can tear down the house and you can build 1 or 2 units on it. So it depends on the zoning. Every city has it differently. They call it, they have a different letters that they would kind of refer to. In city of Calgary, it's RC1 to build. So R1 is a residential single dwelling unit. RC1 is a residential contextual single dwelling unit. So that's how it goes. And then R2 and RC2 is the same thing. So that is for 2 dwellings. So that allows you to build 2 units on a single lot, where R1 will allow you to build a single unit on a single lot. So how do you do that? That's what you do. You find the right lot that allows you to do that. It has to be big enough to have the frontage of the house fitted on the lot. So the 2 houses needs to be fitted. So if you got a smaller lot, you may have an issue. If the lot front is not wide enough, you'll have an issue. You might have an RC2 lot. I've seen it a lot. Or R2 lot, and then you can't build in if it's designed certain way, if it's sitting certain way, and that's
these are different zones, by the way.
Yeah, so these are the zonings. If it's a certain different way, a certain way, and let's say if it's a very long lot, and it still has the zoning, you may have the zoning. You're not going to be able to build the 2 homes on it very easily. Yeah, so the first thing is that you got the right zoning and you got the right lot for it.
Right. Okay. So, when can you really find out what zone it is? How could someone, before they even build and put something in the ground?
Oh yeah,
how do you find this right zone? How do you know?
So so you're a realtor. So if you have your real estate agent, actually you can find out. So when you go to realtor.ca, and that's where let's say you're looking for your lot. In the listing, you'll
shout out to the realtors watching. I know Gary is watching as well.
Yeah. So it's very easy. So you talk to your real estate agent, and they'll tell you a lot more than if they know what they're doing. They will tell you a lot more. So you just find that information on realtor.ca or whatever, Zillow.com.
Yeah, I seen something on the City of Calgary website that there's like you can enter your address and it says what it is.
Yeah, and then
It's pretty
city,
easy.
obviously the city will have that information. So in one of their platform, if you use that, they have a couple of different ones. Right?
Yeah.
They have like a special one that is used for like the designer and planner contractors. But if you have the regular, the standard stuff, you go on the city website, you'll be able to find what kind of zoning certain addresses.
Right. So now we found the zoning. We spoke to our realtor, went on the city website. What's next? Now we know.
Yeah, so another thing, you want to check the size of the lot, right? How big it is. It has to be certain square footage in order to kind of qualify.
Okay.
So that's one thing, it has to be certain size in order to occupy the house. Now, you can build homes differently these days, and then you can get away with certain things, but I wouldn't recommend that, because especially in a duplex, you don't want to spend a lot of money on just fixing or trying to make unusable lot make it work, right? So you want to check the size of the lot. That if it's certain size, so I'll just give you an example. The width of the lot, right? The depth of the lot, and then the full square footage. It has to make sense. So that is also something your realtor can help you with and tell you that if it's good or not. And if you don't have that information, let's say you were kind of looking for this directly, then that's where you need some like expert on the consulting side. So an architect or a consulting or designing firm like Pircon, we can help you. And if you find something, and you can engage us, and we can let you know that if it's going to be a good fit for you for that certain development or not.
So now we know the square footage. Now you hired the team. Then what's next?
Yeah, so you got the right zoning. So if you got the basic stuff, so the right zoning and certain lot size, if you got those two together, that's where you're probably working with your real estate agent or the seller, right, to look at the, if you want to put an offer, or maybe look at, let's say, I'm just saying this is something that you don't own, and then you're looking at purchasing it, which 90% of the time that's how it kind of goes, that people will especially buy these lots so they can build something on it. So that's where the step 3 is. Actually, now you really want to talk to a professional consultant. You need to hire an architect or a consulting team, and then you want their opinion so they can check certain things and there are a lot of things to look at, right? So what community it is. First of all, obviously, okay, the zoning is right. In your opinion, you have looked at the lot is right. There's a lot of things to look at. Like where is it located exactly? What community it is? What is the, I would say I would highly recommend it, and you can look at it yourself, or you can have an architect for you, and they'll probably look at it. What is the city plan for that certain subdivision where you're, looking at building a duplex? Or also each community, so each subdivision or community, they have their own development plans. So they also have put together a plan for their community, what they want out of their community, what is the plan for their community as it grows with time. So you'll see it, like some communities will really welcome new developments, and that's part of their plan, and this is their initiative, and that's they were heading towards. So they want certain things. They want maybe multifamily, they want certain housing, maybe they want more shopping areas and things like that. And certain communities, would be leaning towards maybe having more parks and maybe having certain things. So there's also so each community, especially these communities that's going under development, they have their own development plan. So it's always a good idea to read that and see what the community is kind of expecting out of its residents. So that's another thing to look at. But if you got the right architect, they'll probably do that homework for you anyway. They'll look at it, and then they can really give you. So that's where you want their opinion. That okay, if it's something's possible, and if it is, how long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost? Those are the two things you want out of them. Yeah.
Interesting. Really cool. So we had a question here. What type of zoning can you cover with duplexes? And it all depends what it is. And I know you can always rezone. Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
there?
so it happens all the time.
He teaches me this stuff, so he's
Yeah. Yeah, like it's actually funny. I learned a lot of this stuff when I was in school, when I was learning construction. It was actually my project. One of my final project was that I had to do a project it's like in a real life, and it was that for me what I chose that how to convert a single family to a two dwelling. So it was actually my project to tear down an old house and build a duplex on it. And I had to make sense of it through the means of real estate and the means of cost and construction, right? So it was very
So
interesting.
this is a real project.
Yeah,
Or
I
just
did.
like
It was a real
project.
project. No, yeah, it was a real project. Yeah, pretty much, right? It was
Okay.
something happening, and then obviously I was, being attached to real estate. I had a client who was actually was in the process, so I just used that information and pieces of information from other places to build my project that I handed in, right? But it was a real project at the same time. There were real drawings that were used, and then the real, the process from the city of Calgary, how to get approved and all that. Yeah, so yeah, it's very interesting for me too. That time it was so tough, and I didn't know like how it actually happens. But over time, I actually got to do it, and then I really learned it. So, your question with regards to
Like
the
can
zoning,
someone rezone?
Yeah, so there are many times there are situations where it's a perfect lot, right? It's a big enough, it's wide enough, it's a perfect community, and it's zoned as RC1 or R1. Now, if like I said, if it's meets a certain criteria, which is the square footage and it's the lot, then you can apply for rezoning. For that, you have to go into, it's a longer process. So zoning, when you're rezoning a property, it takes quite a time, but it can be done, and it happens all the time. It happens with multiple properties and actually on a bigger levels where they get converted even from residential to commercial zoning, or from multifamily to multi-use zoning. So it happens all the time, or commercial gets converted to industrial. So that's how things move around the city anyway. So it's not unheard of, and it's actually easier with the smaller lots. So if you want to go from RC1 to RC2, and you got the right lot size and the right width, and it makes sense, especially if it's happening all over that community. If it's happening around where the house is, it just makes it easier, and you can easily do that. It just takes time.
Right. And that goes through a process of a development permit as well.
Right. So each construction, like every construction has to go through a process of development anyway. So the minute you're tearing something down and you're building something new, you have to go through a development permit. Yeah. Even if you tear down some part of your house and you put some additions to it, you have to go through a development permit process. If you change the look of your house from the outside in a way where it's going to change the transitions between the windows and certain things on the facade of the house, you have to go through the development permit process.
Crazy. So we also we covered this in I think episode 5. We covered building permits, development permits. Things you'll need there. You'll need some architects, engineers to go through your property, create drawings, apply with the city. We provide that service as well. So you can always contact us and we could help you there and hook you up with the DP, BP, and so you can start with the GP, game plan.
Yeah, that rhymes really good.
Yeah. All right. Now, here's a question. Question G here. Who can benefit from building a duplex? This might go towards a real estate. question.
Okay, so straight benefit, I would say actually, so many people can benefit from it, right? If you if you're in real estate and this is something what you do and you usually renovate homes, maybe it's time you kind of upgrade and now start developing duplexes and properties like that. So you can really benefit from that. But what I really think who can benefit is actually people living in that community, right? So if you live in an inner city community, you own a lot there, you have a piece of property and it's an old house anyway, it actually makes a lot more sense, especially if your house is paid off, or let's say if it has a low balance, it makes sense, and your lending is a big thing in these type of construction. So your lending will go through pretty easy too. If you already own the lot and you want to make that change, you can just simply go to your lender and the city, and your application would be that I want to convert this single house, this old house, into a new 2 side-by-side semi-detached home, and I want to live in one and rent out one. That's just makes it very easy for when it comes to your lending and also your building permits.
Cool. So you live in one, rent out the other. The city will be more happy for you.
So if you live in a community of, let's say, Highwood, Highland Park, there's so many communities, I can't name it all, but there's so many inner city communities that are actually reaching a little bit outskirts too. You find you live there, and if you have the means to, the biggest obstacle is usually the lending and the planning. So we can help you with that. If you have means to, it would be the perfect start for you perfect thing for you to just get started with something, right? You build your own custom house in a way, and then you live in one, or you can sell it. You can live in one and you can sell one, right? So that's another way. And then that's something, your house, you're actually doubling down on the value of your property that way. So when you do that, you got 2 new homes in a replacement of one old rusty house that you probably have to change the windows and the hot water tank, and a lot of other renovations are required. It's the best if you can make sense of it. You build the right property on it that's worth it for the right kind of amount that you need to spend. It will be the best bang for your buck.
For sure. And you're adding great value to that piece of land that was just one house before. You have another home there.
Yeah.
More customers that could live there and pay or buy it, and add more money in your bank account as well. So, I have so many questions about, questions from building a duplex, like taking a excavator and digging out the foundation and removing everything. There's so much more I want to cover. I do want to respect your time. We only have about a 30-minute timeline for this podcast today. I'm just it is holiday season. We're going to go spend time with our families, and I'm off to go to the gym so I can look bigger. And so I just want to wrap it up and just pull everything together to a close. Any last thoughts, Adeel, you want to share with our audience for episode 8?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much detail. There's so much that we can discuss about. I can pretty much tell you how to build these places. Not that you should go ahead and build it. And trust me, you're not going to build these places by purchasing materials from Home Depot. Somebody asked me that, like, if you could actually build a house. That I think they claim that, but it's not really quite possible. You're going to need professional people to do that. Yeah, you can build your basement by and your garage and places, things like that. Just shopping at Home Depot for sure. So, last words on this. Just make it happen. Just if you're in real estate, if you have, if you're interested in becoming big and making money from more revenue off your properties, if you're in the game of renovating homes and you want to upgrade, so that would be the next thing to go up into, which is building duplexes. So a lot of our clients are like that. They're real estate agents and they're buying it for themselves to make profit, or they're real estate agents and they have clients who are buying these properties and converting them into duplexes for profit or rental. And we also have our own clients that come to us for help, and we build these properties. We kind of take them through the process from A to Z and get them the right property, get them the right connections for financing and things like that. And then, and we take care of the construction and the development for them. So it's a really good opportunity for those people who are into construction and kind of love the real estate game. And also, like I said, if you live in the community and you're tired of your old home and you're looking at renovation, maybe building more on your lot is the way to go. And you know what? City needs that. All these bigger cities, they have a big time problem with the home prices anyway. And we're kind of running out, like we're going further and further out into the city with newer built, which is actually turns out to be, if you look at it per square footage rate, you're going to end up paying more money when you're building in these, further communities. So if you and especially if you look into and then those are smaller lots. So they're building even like skinnier homes that you can build on these, as a duplex. So I think it's more beneficial if you have an ability to convert a lot from 1 to 2. It's beneficial for that community, is beneficial for the city, is beneficial overall for the cost and for the residents and for construction as well.
Yeah, and we were just actually talking about it earlier. Like, some places could be triplexes or fourplexes and have more units on top with time. So that's just something else you could do as well. You could add so much value to that piece of land there. It all just takes strategy and working with experts, and you can make that plan happen if that's your plan for building wealth.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching, everyone. This is episode 8, I think. Is it? I think it's 8.
I think so. Yeah.
So episode 8 with the Adeel.
It's been a long time. Feels like that we've been doing this, but we're just babies to this. So, but it's fun. It's enjoying. It's the sharing that information, and hopefully it can benefit someone. That would be the best. So we're really happy and excited every time we come here and we do this. So thanks a lot for joining on Instagram Live today. If there is any question, do ask us in your hit us with your comments. Do hit the like button and do subscribe our channel. Yes,
and turn up. the bell on the ring button so you get a notification when we go post the video.
Yeah, and you'll find Kevin's phone number on the information on the podcast information. So if there's any questions, if you need to reach us out, please give him a call, and we can really help you with your plans, what you're looking into, at least kind of get you in the right direction. Maybe you're not ready for it and you think you are. So that 2-minute conversation might help you deciding that's something you should go for or not.
For sure. Yeah, just no spam, guys. No, don't be calling me from like half the part of the world. And I'm like, why are you calling me?
Call him 3 a.m.
Yeah. I'm glad I have Do Not Disturb on at that time. But yes, thank you for watching, everyone. Hit the subscribe. Thank you for tuning. Episode 8, Adeel Pirzada podcast, featuring Adeel Pirzada, the man, the myth, the legend, and me as his humble partner and assistant on this podcast, here to help you along the way for anything construction. Have a great day, guys. See you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. See ya.
Bye.